Hey, what up, YouTube? Welcome to Play It Painted Live. Alexa, stop. Hate that. Can't actually get the kind of music I want. So anyways, what's up, people? Welcome to Play It Painted Live. Just getting ready to get back into the painting here. I got these Falconers up and ready to go. I'm just going to pull up my stream on the other monitor here while nobody's watching. Nobody's watching. All good. We'll just see who pops on. I know it's kind of late. Got a late stream started, and just people taking their time, people around me, just making life a little more difficult than it needs to be. Or people that eat up my time just bug me. They just bug me, man. All right, where's my live streaming? We don't like it. We don't like it. Okay, here we go. And it's probably going to tell me bad. Yeah. I don't know why it tells me that my streaming status is bad. That's not true. My streaming status is decent as far as I can tell. We seem to be okay. Here's where we're at. This is the farmers. Sorry, not the farmers. The Falconers for Guild Ball. And I started painting them up. We built them the other night on Twitch as part of the Build and BS community chat. So essentially the way I do this, guys, is for those of you who follow me on YouTube and might be watching this on playback through YouTube, the way this works is I typically, when I have a project like a new Guild Ball team or something like that, what I do first is I will stop and build. And because building tends to be a pretty boring or mundane process, I open it up and I do it on Twitch for one, and then two, I will open it up as a community chat on my Discord so that people can hop on Discord and chat with me that way. It just keeps things more entertaining, I think, all around. And we get into some pretty messed up topics. Yeah. And so I do that for the boring parts. And then when we start to get to some of the, the more, at least the more entertaining painting that rhymed, I'll do that on YouTube. Or if I'm working on like a special individual or something like that, I usually reserve it for YouTube, right? Because I'm trying to keep the content separate between Twitch and YouTube. Twitch stuff is more like if you really want to watch the batch painting, like how we get deep into this process and get ourselves like a head start on stuff, I would go there. What we're going to do tonight is it's going to be a lot of like standard paint stuff. I don't know how far we're going to get into this, but that's okay, right? We're not. That's the color I wanted. Fair shadow. That's perfect. Okay. I don't know how far we're going to get into this, but hopefully we'll get somewhat far. Okay. So what I'm going to do right now, still wrapping up the skin on a bunch of these. I am painting the entire guild at the same time. No, that's not something I recommend to people, but that is something I do. So take from that what you will. So we're gonna go in and do some highlighting here. I'm gonna hit it with some fair shadow. So I'm not quite going to the palest of the pale skin, but we are going to fair shadow. And I want this to flow really well. So a couple drops of glazed medium, a couple drops of airbrush thinner, and this stuff should be nice and thin and should flow out very well. and we'll just take it from here. If you guys have any questions or any comments, let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting. Hey, what's up, Shabby? How you doing? I saw that you were on Twitch a little earlier tonight. Fortunately, I was not able to join. My wife had back to school night tonight, so it was just me and the boys. So they had my full attention for the evening. So we're gonna paint here. So I'm going for like a winter green theme on these miniatures here. So you can see where they're at so far. Like that's the theme that they're in, and I think it looks really damn cool if I'm being honest with you, but I don't know what the complementary colors should be. I am thinking just your standard browns and whites. I thought gray for a minute, but it might be a little too gray, might be a little too desaturated. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm only away from 50 followers on there. Fantastic, man. Congratulations. That's good. Yeah, I remember when I started on Twitch, it took me a while to get to 50. And I'm still crawling on Twitch. But I think it's going to be that way simply because I don't have I don't put together the quality streaming stuff the way most other like painters and stuff on Twitch have. They all kind of have that same sort of schlock that everybody likes, and they paint GW stuff, which is far more popular. I don't paint any GW stuff on the channel, so yeah, it's pretty muted. This color palette's pretty muted. But that's what I'm going for. But I think, well, let's see how we go. Here's a little preview of the Wonder Woman. She is not going to have the same colors everybody else is because she is. I'm really just gonna. My plan is just to knock off Wonder Woman. Just straight up do a Wonder Woman, so that there's no mistake who this character is supposed to be. I know Steamforge had to do a few modifications, right? They couldn't totally steal the Wonder Woman image. You watched me and not them. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, I mean that's it's a good and a bad thing. I like it personally because it does allow me to kind of just do my own thing, do what I want to do, as opposed to like, oh, I better have viewer dollars or something on my Twitch, or I better have this feature, or I better do, I better have that little window on the side where people get to do the thing and, have fundraising goals and all that kind of stuff. And I just don't do that. I don't know. I've had some of my followers actually kind of lecture me on that. Like, oh, you should really, you need to be better about promoting your channel and your stuff. And I don't disagree with them, but I was just kind of like, yeah, I do. I recognize I probably should be better at that kind of stuff, but like my focus is here. My focus is getting the painting done, hanging out with people that I like, and talking about stuff that I prefer to talk about, right? Not so much the safer conversations and stuff that you'll see in the other feeds. And I'm not trying to knock them. Like they have to keep it fairly tame because they're trying to, like, their goal is different than mine. They're trying to reach the wider audience. Let's see. I was in one stream, one guy refused to respond to the chat and it wasn't fun. I just wish you'd post it on like Twitter or Discord. Oh, well, yeah, well, I think there are some people that can't, like the really popular streamers, they have to prioritize, who they're going to actually respond to because they have so many viewers and stuff. So they tend to respond to people that are, either donating bits or subscribing or that kind of stuff. So it's unfortunately, it's like with YouTube, it's the super chats, right? You have too many people watching you on stream and you can't have a conversation with all of them. So it's like, well, it makes the most sense to sort of reward the people who are helping your show out financially. Oh, you had 3 viewers. Oh God. Never mind. Just ignore everything I just said. Maybe the guy's just a prick. I don't know. That's an acceptable answer, right? He could just be a prick. That could be that. That's kind of shitty. Oh yeah, man. This plastic has a lot of mold lines in it. It's really, and you can see one there, and it looks horrible. And I could trim this a little bit, but it's not the best. Let's see. I need to do some. So this guy here, Rundas, he has slightly better. He's a bit more tan than the other members of the team here. But I just wish I was told when you were on and where. Oh yeah, that's a good point. I mean, if you're subscribed to me on YouTube and you click the little bell, it's supposed to tell you. I think Twitch tells you too. This used to just automatically put a message out on my Twitter to say that I'm going on. I don't really know what happened to that function, but I know that was a thing. I don't know. We're working on it. I'm not sure. I totally agree, though. It would be nice if it just, like back when I was on XSplit, it would just post to Twitter and say, "Oh, look, we're back on, so and so. We're back on YouTube or something like that." Like the Twitch app tells me when you're on. And then there's another like Discord. I'm part of this other Discord group that it like broadcasts when one of the members of that group is on. But I don't think that really helps because that group is kind of just made up of other streamers and content creators. So we tend to be on different times. So it's not like I hardly ever catch the other people's streams on there. So I don't know. Yeah, it tells me when you're on. I'm not sure what kind of. I don't think I did anything really special with the settings or anything. It just sort of tells me when you're on. Wow, that's a terrible mold line. I can't really get it. The way the arm is lined up, I can't really get that mold line. Okay. But I guess we'll kind of just work on it from this guy's perspective. So again, with the winter theme here, hey, what's up, Hoser? The winter theme here, I may do probably green. I think green and browns are good, but even paler, like a paler color. Just learned I'm around 1 a.m. Oh yeah. Man, yeah, we gotta get better about that. I don't know. Okay, so I think what I need to do here is figure out how to make this color look a little more winter-like. Mini monthly, yeah, miniature monthly boxes, right? That's kind of like, they're kind of like loot boxes, I guess, but they do different miniatures. I think that's what that is. Hmm. What do I need to do here? I'm stuck here regarding the color scheme, like what the other color should be. Should it be a gray like that? Should it be? I'm afraid the brown might take away too much from the winter theme, but I probably need the brown. I probably need the brown to really differentiate belts and that kind of stuff. The other option is to do like a somber gray, maybe. Again, I'm going for like a cool winter theme, but not like. It's weird. I'm not going for like white. I'm not going for a white. When people say, "Oh, you're doing a winter theme," you need to highlight up to white. And yeah, for the most part, that's true. But I'm not quite. That's not quite what I want to do here. It's a nice color. That's a really nice color. Could use something like that. Like it's completely random theme. Like if I were in your shoes and I wasn't playing a specific game, I would probably do something like that. Like that would be, I would find that interesting. And just the idea of trying to tackle a lot of different themes and miniatures and that kind of stuff, to me that sounds really interesting. But that's all the input I really have on that. Let's try somber gray. Let's just do it. Let's see what we get. If we like somber gray. It's funny because everybody else looks like is dressed like for the winter here for all these guys, except for this dude. He don't care. He's rocking the shirtless. It don't bother him none. He needs like a frosty blue. Yeah, I hear you. Let's just see what we get. That's what I always do. So paint first, and I either like it or I don't like it. This is not a commission, nor is it a team that I plan on regularly playing. So I got a bit of time to just kind of mess around here and find out what I want to do. Yeah, the other part of this is I think what I may do is do more colors on the main color, on that main sort of green, like a bit of ice. So maybe let's do this. What I could do is take this somber gray and highlight it up towards like glacier blue. Let's see how this is going to turn out. But I am like kind of just using this as an experiment to see what other like color combos I really like. This sort of blue-green is something I've been experimenting with for the better part of this year. Just like what else goes with blue-green besides, black and white. This dude's got a lot of belts. He has a lot of belts. I guess they're not belts, they're straps. Like he's like this is like a mankini or something, and he's going topless, right? He loves his shirtless self that much. He's going to be a sexy man's that walks around with no shirt on. He's going to give you 2 tickets to the gun show. There he is. I mean, it's almost looks non-existent, the other color on there. You can't really make it out at all. That somber gray. What I could do is, I guess I'll keep highlighting the green up until we get to some of the colors that I really like there. Since we're kind of primarily working on him, he's just that thirsty. Yeah. He's going to show you his chesticles. I mean, it does look pretty good and desaturated right now. But I do want a pale green sort of highlight on this teal, I guess, for lack of a better descriptor. I would say that's a teal on him. I was looking at some like video of winter skies like over Norway and Scotland and all that kind of stuff. Try to get some inspiration of like a winter sky. Dude's got quite the ponytail, and I hadn't even noticed. Like he's rocking a lot of ponytail right there. Right? I could do, well, where's that lighter skin color? Could do a really, really tiny little highlight with the lighter skin color, just to really kind of have his musculature and all that kind of stuff pop. So I'll do really light. So while we're here, should we start talking about controversial shit, right? Should we go into a rant? Should I talk about my opinion on the Captain Marvel trailer? Since we are technically painting a Wonder Woman. Oh yeah, he looks a little too white with this highlight. So, right? That's what everybody's sort of talking about, right? Is their reaction to the... Oh shoot. Did it just bleed off? It did. Their reaction to the Captain Marvel trailer. Well, nothing really. That's the thing. I think the complaint about the Captain Marvel trailer is, I think a lot of the skeptical people, and I tend to be a skeptical person when it comes to everything. A lot of skeptical people were saying that they were, fairly underwhelmed by the trailer, and I would count myself among those people. I did not, but I would also disclose that I'm not much for the superhero movies. MGK and EM. Oh, I don't even know what drama you're talking about. Yeah, I just not like I said, not really into superhero movies, but guy at work is always wants my opinion on shit. So he's like, "Watch the trailer, dude. Watch the trailer." So he put the trailer on for me, and I was like, "Yeah, I the nicest thing I had to say about it um, was that it was a movie." I was like, "Yeah, that's a movie. That's what that is. That's as far as I was willing to go there." Um, it just does. It didn't look interesting, and I was asking some questions on Discord because I was like, Captain Marvel. I would always remember, back when I collected comic books, which is many many years ago. I remember Captain Marvel being a black lady, right? And everybody's like so freaked out about identity politics and, oh, look at how woke we are and all this shit. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Whenever we get into arguments about shit like that, right? Why can't Iron Man be a lesbian? Why can't Thor be an attack helicopter or something like that? Whenever we get into discussions like that, the people that are sort of the pro diversity, that crowd, um, they always argue from the standpoint of representation being more important than integrity or faithfulness to the source material, right? The people that are like, no, 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 we need to keep Superman, Clark Kent, white, right? I don't have a horse in this fight, but whatever. Um, yeah, horse in a fight. Um, they argue it from that standpoint, like not the pro, leave Superman. White people are like, well, wait a minute, Clark Kent is a white character, and that's been his character for many years. The reason why people are going to watch the movie is because they're fans of that character. And yeah, I mean, being white may not be the most important part about Clark Kent, but it fits the visual gestalt of people that have read the comic books and have that deep draw nostalgia to the movie theater, right? So the pro crowd, the pro keep it crowd, the I guess for lack of a better term, the conservative crowd is like, well, make him match what he was in the stories because we want a reflection of the stories. We want the screen representation to be faithful to the source material. Hey, what's up, Congo? Meanwhile, the other people, the pro diversity crowd, they don't argue that point at all because they don't care about that point. They're like, no, you're just being a man baby, whatever, whatever. Representation is the most important thing, right? So they're willing to sacrifice the integrity of the story for representation, okay? And feel how you want about that. Feel how you want about that. If you agree with it, if you disagree with it, doesn't matter. You just hang on for the next part of this argument, right? So the next, so if you're arguing that, you're like, no, story doesn't matter. I don't care about Clark Kent. I don't care about Steve Rogers or whatever. I just need to see. This is almost like anti-attacking Tom, but like, I just need to see a black person on screen as Thor. I need to see a woman on screen as Iron Man, right? That's the pro diversity crowd. They're like, story and source material be damned. It's 2018. We need to see representation on screen. Okay. So my shock is the sudden and abject silence when it comes to Captain Marvel. Why did we give Captain Marvel a pass? Because it's like, oh well, and they're going to argue from the same side that the sort of the quote unquote bigot, manlet side is going to argue from, which is, hey, no, we're trying to stay true to the source material. We want this character represented on screen as they are, right? So why did Captain Marvel get a pass? If I was on the pro diversity side, I would say, one, there is a black Captain Marvel, and she was very popular at the time she was created. And two, how many white superheroes do we have to have? If, again, I'm not in favor of this argument, but if I was arguing that side, that I would say that argument, and that would mirror every other argument that they've said. It was like, because you tell them like, oh, they're the people that were mad that Scarlett Johansson was Kusanagi, the people that were mad that Scarlett Johansson was gonna play. People just get mad apparently when Scarlett Johansson tries to do anything. Like, I feel bad for Scarlett Johansson. Like, what? And that's hard for me to do. Like, I have very, very low sympathy for rich and famous people. I have almost no sympathy for rich and famous people. But it's like, man, she's just trying to do her acting thing. What the hell? Why are we so hostile towards Scarlett Johansson? What has she done? Right? But yeah. So that's where I'm just confused. Like, I don't understand the rules. The original Captain Marvel is a white male. Yeah, I remember the original Captain Marvel. He died of cancer. I remember that. I had that comic growing up. But so, but the pro Captain Marvel crowd is like, no. We want to watch Carol Danvers. We want to watch. She's the one that's popular in the comic right now. They're making the same argument that the manlet bigots were making, when it's like, no, we want to, we want Superman to be Clark Kent. We want him to be Henry Cavill, right? So I'm just trying to understand the rules. Just like, can we? I know what I'm asking for is impossible, but I'm asking for consistency. If you're going to be one of those people that argues the representation side, well, you need to be arguing for representation right now. If you're one of those people that argues that, be faithful to the source material and depict the character that you're depicting, well, this should be fine. I don't understand. I just don't understand who they decide to go after and who they don't. And by the way, what I don't, the other thing I don't understand, if I'm being completely honest with you, you guys can feel free to agree or disagree with me, right? Is it me? I watched that trailer like 3 or 4 times, and I was like, I'm watching Brie Larson like say, "I'm not what you think I am. I'm a hero. I'm from this planet. I might be from here." Like, she says like 4 things in the trailer, right? And somebody picked up on that. There were people mad because it's like, how come the man, Samuel L. Jackson, has more to say in the Captain Marvel trailer than Captain Marvel does? I'm like, okay, see, they do understand. Like, they're those are the people, they're harping on their representation side of the argument, whatever, right? At least they're being consistent. But did anybody else just kind of notice how weak she delivered her lines? Just how completely unaffected that actress is? Like, I haven't, like, she just doesn't, she comes off very flat, very robotic in everything I've seen her in. Like, very not interesting. And I just don't think she is a good cast for Captain Marvel, right? Not because she's a woman, not because anything like that. I just think that she's just not a very good actress for this role. Like, Captain Marvel is pretty damn, extroverted, kind of a kick-ass character, and there's absolutely no power in anything she's portrayed in the trailer. It's embarrassingly bad. Like, I watched it and like I was saying, like, this looks like the worst casting decision since Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. And I'm not about to forgive anybody for that bullshit. That was terrible. That was just Who the hell thought fake Zuckerberg should be Lex Luthor? It's the dumbest shit ever. Like that dude that dude should not be within half a mile of being considered for Lex Luthor. There's nothing Lex Luthor about and the bat and the superhero, and he plays it like fucking Red Mist in Kick-Ass. Like he's just sad and pathetic. He's not Lex Luthor. He's not a massive arc villain mastermind, right? It's just really not good. Yeah. So I'm like, seriously, if you're in the pro representation crowd, you're like, hey, Marvel, here's an opportunity to put another black superhero on screen, right? And they are playing the sort of, the equality angle and all that with this trailer. But like that's a pretty big miss if you think about it. Like if you really wanted to play the social justice angle there, wouldn't you put the black Captain Marvel on screen? Wouldn't. But deep down, I think they know Carol Danvers is the character that's going to make the most money. She's the current and most popular Captain Marvel. So they're going to let shit slide. So yeah, whatever. If you're going to the other part of it too is like if you're going to put if you are going to do Carol Danvers Captain Marvel, like can we at least cast a believable superhero actor? I mean, there's so many other women you could have put there. Hey, I know. Scarlett Johansson. We give her shit about every other role she's tried lately. Why put, hey, there's a white woman role for Scarlett Johansson. Yeah, Monica Rambeau. Right. Monica Rambeau, the black Captain Marvel. Why don't we Monica Rambeau is a pretty damn cool character. I remember when the other Captain Marvel died, and she was sort of passed the torch, and she was on the Avengers. Like now, it's a pretty damn cool storyline. I remember being a kid and thinking that was a big deal, man, because watching white dude Captain Marvel pass the torch on to and then Monica Rambeau kind of emerging as the next Captain Marvel. I thought that was kind of a big deal when I was a kid. Yeah, I understand. Like, and that's the thing. What I'm getting at, you guys, is that you guys are making the argument based on the character, the popularity of the character, and the faithfulness to the source material, right? And those are the same arguments that the keep Superman as Clark Kent arguments go. How come when you do it that way, you're like the bigot, manlet, man baby that needs to go back to grandma's basement and cry it out, right? How come you're lambasted for that, but you're allowed to make the argument in this case? I don't know. I just have questions, people. I don't know. I'm making the argument because the average viewer isn't smart. Yes, I completely agree with your point there. Do not disagree with that. Okay, so we're going to stay with the wintergreen theme here. And do I want this or do I want lighter? Do I want verdigris? That's a great question. Maybe I should use the other verdigris. So we're going to play around with him. He's actually going to be the kind of template that we'll use for everybody else. There's that verdigris. There's another verdigris that I have here that's a weird consistency. It's not hyper thick like It's almost more like a wash. If I can find it. I got questions. So the shit we were talking about, my wife and I were talking about, or it was that Captain Marvel, but we've mostly been talking about Bert and Ernie. You guys I'm sure you're familiar with that controversy. Bert and Ernie's not gay, according to Frank Oz. But I pointed out to her, like, because we were like, I had always believed Bert and Ernie were gay. I'd always believed that they were gay. When it, again, this might be me being callous again. Everybody knows I'm not callous, but it might just be I'm like, guys, you get Earth 2. But he one of the writers was telling the press that he was certain that Bert and Ernie were gay, right? And everybody likes that story, right? That's like, oh yeah, good, yeah, what a great representation of gay people, right? And again, I was on the pro-gay side. I'm like, yeah, they're gay, that's cool, whatever. But then Frank Oz came out and he said, no, they're not gay, right? And he said it he said it unapologetically, and he said it he said it very confidently. These characters are not gay. They were not meant to be gay, right? And that freaked everyone the fuck out. People lost their damn minds. And and you get to watch millennials and the mainstream press go after Frank fucking Oz for being the creator of these characters, or actually the co-creator of these characters, and say, no, this character is not gay. He was never in the minds of the creators. They were never gay, and it just pissed people off. People just lost their shit. People lost their collective shit over that. And it just made me sad. Like, come on, man. I do think it's okay. It's a little bit of a miss in terms of, okay, that would have been a cool thing to have, gay characters in Sesame Street. But if you're the creator of something and that's what that is, right? Are we allowed to freak out at the Hello Kitty creator because Hello Kitty's not a cat? Are we allowed to go and, publicly lambast that creator for that shit? Oh no, just another human being represented. It just, dude, they made these cool characters. Let's just enjoy those cool characters. If they say they're not gay, they're not gay. It shouldn't change how much you love those two characters, because I love them. Love Bert and Ernie. But the interesting thing that I noted there, with, again, because like I said, my wife and I, we talk about shit like this. And I pointed out to her, like, if you do the Google search or the Bing, the trending news, look at the headlines. Look at how they phrase the headlines for on MSNBC, on NBC.com, on MSNBC. They put the writer's opinion first. And so the title is always, Bert and Ernie confirmed gay. And then there's a subtitle, but the creator says no, right? Bert and Ernie are gay, but the creator says no. And then you might see another headline from a different news source that are saying, backlash on, Bert and Ernie creator Frank Oz, who says that they're not gay. That's the actual focus of the story. But if you want the narrative to be, no, Bert and Ernie are gay, that's the central opinion we want our reader to have, and then portray Frank Oz as the antagonist to all this, and place this writer's opinion first, I mean, that's the way you're going to do it. Finding out about Hello Kitty made my cousins lose shit and would not stop talking about it for months. Yeah, people try to superimpose shit on fictional characters, which is why, in my opinion, comic book movies suck. No one makes things for simple entertainment. Well, yeah, the representation, I guess, mandate that the fandoms that fandoms have imposed has really just sucked the joy from all of this shit, right? Because it's like, oh no, it's got to represent me. It's got to represent me. I was thinking about. I had this thought today too, that it's kind of fucked up, right? But Carnage likes butts and I had this thought today. I was driving around, and it came to my head, and and the thought was this. It was another slogan. I was like, huh. I was thinking about the, diversity is our strength thing, right? Diversity is our strength. Diversity is our strength, and how that always just gets shoved, down our throats. Like, hey guys, diversity is our strength. It's our strength, right? And we're just gonna keep saying that mantra. And I, for the longest time, I believed it. Like, I was like, yeah, that's right. Diversity is our strength, and it makes sense, right? Everybody brings something different to the table, and that's what makes us great. That's what makes, and I do believe that thought. I still believe in that. But if you want to be, if I'm being literal here, for my generation anyway, adversity was our strength. Not that's the thought I had. Adversity is our strength. The whole defiant nature of doing something when you're told you couldn't do it. So the interesting thing is, I feel like the Xers, the boomers and the Xers, were the last generation of people that were told that certain people couldn't do certain things. And what happened whenever you had people that did break the mold, that actually did, break boundaries and that kind of stuff, those people more often than not will come out and tell you that no, that the people that were against me, the people that were telling me I couldn't do this, a woman couldn't do this, a minority couldn't do this, that kind of thing. Those people were using the adversity. They were using that fire, that no, you can't do this, nobody wants you to do it. They were using that as motivation, right? That's a thought I had. If you talk to people that were breaking those social stigmas and breaking those boundaries, and doing the doing the Lord's work, for lack of a better term, adversity was their strength, not diversity. Ad-fucking-versity was their strength, right? And if you watch the classic hero tales, it's the same thing too. Adversity is the strength, not diversity. And so I was like, man, I want to just, I could share that and just piss a bunch of people off. I could just piss many, many people off by just saying that. Hey guys, adversity is our strength. And just watch people lose their collective shit. But it's a point that I feel is lost. It's a point that I think people don't, that we don't really have a grasp of anymore. Because it's like, now it's like, when you're other, when you're a minority, when you're part of that, and you do want to break the mold, you do want to break boundaries. What society does now is they don't care whether or not you actually do it, right? If you say, okay, we're going to be the fastest, we're the Jamaican bobsledding team, we're going to be the fastest bobsledding team in the Olympics, right? You go out and say that. What happens now is the mainstream, the media and the press and all that, they will back you to the point of absolute condescension. Right? They will back you. It will be to the point where, if the Norwegian team wins the bobsledding event, that they'll come out and say, Norwegian bobsledding event, bobsledding team infested with racists. They'll say, no matter how you perform, they'll say, oh, Jamaican bobsledding team is an inspiration to all of us. Like, it's just fucking embarrassingly bad. Like, that would piss me off, actually, if I was on the Jamaican bobsledding team and like, no, we don't want to just be the novelty team that you get to parade around and fucking use to virtue signal with your friends. Like, we actually want to be a good bobsledding team, and we had a shitty time and we didn't place, and we're gonna have to work harder next year. And you go around parading it like, oh, they should have won but it was institutionalized racism that held them back. Like, that's fucking racist, if you ask me. That's now you're the ones being racist. Like, let people stand and fall on their own. Give them the respect. Give them the same respect that you would give any other team, right? Don't lower the bar. Don't force the win. Let people earn it on their own. And if you really want to help them, you're gonna do you would it seems to me you would do a better job helping them out by telling them that they'll never win. If I'm being honest, if you really want to see them win, tell them that they'll never win. Don't fucking lie on your blog or on your newspaper or some shit and make them out to be victims. Because, my opinion, adversity is our strength. People need you need a healthy amount of tension. You need a healthy amount of resistance to actually achieve something. And what we're doing nowadays with this, is we're using people as props, and we're telling, we're using people as props to pacify our own guilt, and it's disgusting. Like, your equals should be allowed to fail. They should be required to jump over the same height hoop as everybody else does, because that's what they want. At the end of the day, that's what they want. They want the opportunity to go after the same target that everybody else does. Not They don't want a hand me out. Some people do. Well, shit. I don't know. I'm gonna pull up my suspenders and say, kids these days, they fucking want. Sometimes they wait for the artist to tell me they feel like it's a character's background on their own time. I love it personally. I love it when there's a creator or an artist that has a private thought about, one of their characters or whatever, that they won't share for years and years and years, and then they come out and tell you. They come out and tell you something really remarkable that you might not have ever known. It was the Hodor reveal on Game of Thrones. That was pretty damn cool. I thought that was pretty damn cool. How such a somewhat side character has this really, really interesting story, like this whole backstory that gets revealed slowly over the course of that sixth season. And when the reveal finally comes out, you're just so completely heartbroken by it. I thought that was awesome. And naturally, George R. Martin came up with that, not those idiots Dan and Dave. So yeah, F those guys. The whole Serena Williams U.S. Open as example. Wasn't much talk about the Japanese woman who won, which was sad. That was sad. I like that Serena actually came out later and gave what's her name, Naomi Osaka, gave her due and hugged her and told her she was proud of her. That was cool. But I agree, like, there was too much emphasis on the complaining thing. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe, I mean, that's when we wanted our shot, we wanted our shot, we wanted our chance. We wanted something. We were told that we couldn't do something or have something or be something. Well, that was the motivation. Lowering the bar and saying, oh, it's because more racism, and then watching a bunch of racists, you know, get on their damn blogs and try to defend you to prove to their friends how not racist they are. That's some bullshit right there. It's very, that's the thing. Like, this shit is, it's very self-indulgent. Like, oh, I'm going to stand up for these people because it's more convenient for you. It's not even about them. And I think a lot of people can recognize that when these people do their little soapbox charge or that kind of thing. It's not even about the people they're speaking for. You know, it's about them. It's a very it's a very lazy and self-indulgent thing. It's like I was saying the other night, when you just post ad nauseum stuff that sounds really inspiring and sounds really clever, but never really touches the difficult parts of the matter. You know, just being brave enough to say that there's a problem. Like the people that say that there's a problem in the educational system. Well, no shit. Everybody knows there's a problem with the educational system. What you're sharing is very safe. It doesn't it doesn't actually have any real impact because everybody knows that and agrees with it. So you're not actually contributing to a solution. You're just safely pointing out a problem and then, you know, trying to collect some sort of recognition or reward for that. It's a pretty cool color scheme. It's weird. It's kind of like an aquamarine. I feel like maybe the straps, the belts, need to be darker if I'm going to do that. Oh, hey, what's up, Underdog Painting? I think I should do that. I think the strap should be darker, just to provide the contrast. Sadly, this looks extremely similar to my Alchemist color scheme. But hey, I like the scheme. Sue me, right? I like the scheme, man. It looks good. It's nice. It's super clean. And it gets the point across. It's a very, very cool colors. I think we're just, yeah, I think I'm just going to go with it. We're just going to, and the Falcon here is a little bit more of like a blue-gray colored Falcon. How's everyone doing? I'm doing pretty good. Very long day today. I can't really complain though, because my day wasn't nearly as long as my wife's day. My wife had back to school night. I had a bunch of meetings that ran all the way through lunch and all that, and then I had to go meet my boss's boss, and we were afraid that whenever I have to meet with him, like he's such a busy guy that he'll delay our meetings like by an hour or more. So a lot of times it's like, oh, you know, his secretary will tell me, oh, you got to wait around another hour. He's still finishing up his other meeting or whatever. In this case, I was caught in between two of his meetings, and you know, my job at this point was just to ask him for money to help fund my lab. And he just kind of met up with me, and for like, we were scheduled for an hour. He met up with me for about 11 minutes and said, okay, yeah, we're going to do it. You know, and we walked over to the future site of my lab, and he explained to me what he wanted to see, what he liked, what he didn't like. So that was cool. So I actually made it home on time, and then for most of the evening was taking care of my two boys. which is super fun. Let's see. I just drove to work. Start of a long. Oh, okay. You're just getting there. Are you out in Australia? Is this the morning time for you out there? Yeah. So yeah, this is kind of a winter type scheme here, and we're just gonna put a little snow on the ground, just a little bit, like it's partial snow on the ground, not full winter. We're just calling it winter green. We're calling this winter green. Okay, these models are sick. I love this vet hern. He's pretty awesome. Uh, he does have kind of weird facial hair. I will say that. Facial hair is a little bit weird. He kind of has the stash that's going up over his lip and then comes back down the other side. And no beard. He's kind of like, to me, it's like, I see this on like the Hispanic grandpa. I've seen that. That's where I most commonly see this type of hairstyle, or mustache style, like the super long stash that goes all the way across and down, and then it connects to the sideburns. Like they have the super deep lamb chops that connect this whole thing and skips the chin. It's pretty cool. It's a couple of black straps there leading up to the skull. And you. But yeah, that's what we're going for here, like a winter's theme. 6:44 a.m. So you get to work early. Pretty cool. That's around the time I usually get to work, around 6 to 6:30. And I really like it. I like getting to work that early. Nice quiet mornings. You can sit down, have your coffee or your tea, open up your email. I'm a fan. I like that quite a bit. Hey Sarah, I'm wanting to paint the blacksmiths and falconers soon, and I love how you did and are doing them both. Any tips for someone who's never painted models before? Wow. First off, can I just say congratulations for wanting to paint models? That's freaking awesome. Like, welcome to the hobby. I hope you really enjoy it and you really love it. The one thing, I guess, the very first thing I'll tell you is do not be discouraged. Right? You're going to, and I tell you that knowing that you are going to be discouraged. You are going to. I mean, when you paint something, especially your first few models, they're not going to come out the way that you envisioned it in your head. But here, fun fact: my models almost never come out the way I envision them in my head. There's always something slightly different. There's some things that you don't expect or account for. You often will do some things better. Some things will work better than you think they would. Some things won't work as well as you'd hope they would. Just a fact. So don't get on yourself too hard about that kind of stuff. Probably the first thing. Um, so don't get discouraged. The second thing is, you know, uh, be patient with yourself, right? Um, And I would say the one thing I used to do when I first started painting miniatures is I would paint the miniatures to a specific point. Like, okay, like for example, I used to just do the base coats. So I'd just paint the base coats on the model because I wasn't sure how to do shading or highlighting or any of that kind of stuff yet. And I'm like, okay, if I just paint the base coats and I don't do any of the other, the slightly more advanced stuff, then I can put it on the table and I can play it. And then as my skills improve, like if they're like really some of your favorite models, as your skills improve, you'll want to go back and repaint them. And so like my old GW stuff, my first Eldar army, in fact, I'd painted several times. Like I would go back. It got to the point where like we would go back, my brother and I, we would go back and repaint our army every year. Like not from scratch, but like touch them up, continue to build them up and go, okay, this year I'm gonna push the reds a little bit more. I'm gonna highlight them better. You know, I want to learn how to do better shading. So we used to do that. So give yourself plenty of time and room to really kind of work on your skill. Be patient with yourself. You know, don't go for perfection out of the gate. Go for go try to get yourself to a point of somewhat satisfaction. Get to that point, play your game, enjoy your game, and then just continue to push yourself to do a little bit better, maybe add a little bit more next time, right? Do a few more layers next time you paint. These are all sort of like non-technical bits of advice I'm going to give because there are plenty, like you can watch plenty of YouTube channels and videos and stuff that are going to give you all kinds of technical advice. But I kind of like the giving people sort of meta advice, right? Another bit of advice I would say, if you can, find yourself people to paint with. Paint in groups. I tell people this all the time. It's such a good idea. Paint in groups, paint with people. I could, you know, one of the things that one of my subscribers was asking me is like, hey, you know, we used to do Hangouts, Google Hangouts, where people could hop on and you just paint and bullshit and, you know, talk it out. But even if you're not talking about painting, that ends up being extremely useful because you're painting with people, you're setting goals. You know, for example, Blade Wolf on here, a lot of times he paints when I paint. You know, Kura Crow does the same thing. He paints when I paint, and it's just sort of, well, it's motivation. It keeps you going. It's like having a buddy that you exercise with, right? You're trying to lose weight. You have another partner there. You have somebody that's like, okay, they have their goal, you have your goal, and you guys do that together. That's super beneficial. That's why I do, you know, I host paint days in public, and I tell the guys at the paint days, like, hop on my channel, let me know, like, if you want, we can set up hangouts where we're all hanging out and painting together. There's a huge value in that. There's a huge value in that, no matter what your skill too, right? If you're the worst painter or the best painter will tell you that they can watch nearly anybody paint something and they'll learn something because everybody has a different system of doing things. Everybody kind of has their own sort of routines for doing things. My day will be a bit different. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, so those are I guess non-technical advice. If you have specific advice, if you want to know paint brands or you know, all that other kind of stuff, thinning paints, and that's probably the number one bit of technical advice given out is you got to learn how to thin your paint because your painting will change overnight by learning how to thin your paint. My brother had been painting his model, so I'll see if I can get a day set up. Yeah, for sure, man. Or like I said, like you know, maybe what we can do is maybe we can make a weekly paint Hangout on here, and I'll just set this up on Google plus Hangouts, and we can have people hop on. You guys can hop on, and we'll just kind of talk it out, do some painting. That used to be the format of this show, anyways. It used to be me and my friends. We would hang out. They would talk games, and I would always be painting. And some of the other guys would also do that. They would spend the hangout painting, and we'd paint together. Oh, look at that. That's bad. Let's just kind of feather that out. A little bit of ink hanging out there. Such a pale color here, but I really like it. So we get that. I guess Theron's, we'll have Theron's falcon be a brown falcon. Anyone here remember the cartoon Silverhawks? Freaking loved that cartoon. Silverhawks was like the space analog to Thundercats. Was made by the same production company. It was very, very similar to Thundercats. You had a team of basically different types of robotic, or I guess they were cyborg enhanced people that were also hawks. They had hawk-like abilities, right? So you had the main guy, Quicksilver. You had the Copper Kid. He was just this little genius savant kid that was, and he would speak like that. And you had the twins. I forget, man. It's been so long. Forget what the names of the two twins were. But man, what a cool show! And they all had their little hawks. So you'd have Quicksilver would have his own hawk. Copper Kid would have his own hawk. And then I don't know why I'm bringing it up, other than that's what this reminds me of. Like painting this guild reminds me of Silverhawks. Silverhawks is awesome. Everybody knows this. But yeah, woo. So this verdigris is going on super thin. And I'm just going to kind of use it to draw some light up on this miniature. It's neat that I have the super thin verdigris and I have the super thick verdigris. And so I'm just going to start to blend it up towards the lighter color there. That's a green ink towards the bottom. Right, so I'll just kind of blend all this up. Nobody else remembers Silverhawks? Man, I know I'm old, but that's cool shit, man. You should look that up. Not nearly as popular as Thundercats, and I think Silverhawks only went like a season, if I recall. It just didn't gain the kind of traction that Thundercats did, unfortunately. Yeah, it's just these things are. I need this bone to cover, so I'm gonna do another coat. So yeah, just we're just gonna kind of paint these not one at a time, but kind of work on them one at a time. They look so pepperminty. They look kind of delicious to me. So well, let me ask you this: you have a farmer, wait, you have a blacksmiths and a falconers guild. Are you currently playing Guild Ball? Like, is that why you have those guilds? And those are are those the guilds that you're playing in Guild Ball? I love talking Guild Ball. I do. I love talking Guild Ball. I can talk Guild Ball like all day. So one thing, there right now, today, the internet was the Guild Ball corner of the internet was a complete salt mine over the Brewers changes that were announced today. That notably they had previewed season 4 esters, and there were some changes on there that some people, I guess nobody's really calling it a nerf, but it was a dramatic sort of trim of Esther's abilities. It was a simplification of Esther's abilities and some changes that a lot of people took exception to thematically, because they went for season 4. They're definitely trying to simplify and streamline the game, right? And in in theory, people love that idea. Like, yes, make the game easier for new people, make it a simpler game, lower the barrier of entry. And so on paper, at least, we all want to agree with that sentiment. But then, when it comes time to sacrificing, making some personal sacrifices on your favorite captain or your favorite team or whatever, on sort of the altar of progress here for Guild Ball, people start to get a little upset, to get a little touchy. I totally understand where they're coming from. That was one of the reasons, like that was a big reason for a lot of people quitting Malifaux at second edition, and this is the one of the reasons I cite myself, was that they had ended up, in their quest to simplify the rules, they had divorced a lot of the game mechanics the from the lore, from the background of the character. And in the character driven game, that means a lot to the players, right? There's a lot of people out there that play their Guild Ball teams, at least in part, because of the fluff of those teams. And when those teams and the mechanics of those teams start to lose their flavor, they start to lose, some of the characteristics that we love about them, then yeah, there's going to be some salt, man. There's going to be some salt thrown around. See, Blade Wolf knows exactly what I'm talking about right now. Yeah, salt mine. Esther's was interesting because she's the opera singer, right? And she sang all these songs, and mechanically, what was so cool about that was she was a toolbox type captain, and you got to, in order to play her successfully, you had to know where and when to apply all the different buffs that she applies through song. You have to understand how to apply those. And what they did was they just kind of stripped her of all of those abilities. They stripped her of all of it, and then just like came right back to, okay, well, we're going to give people around her a bunch of free heroic plays. And so it's not so much a nerf, it's an oversimplification. And a lot of people took exception to that, and they weren't happy about it. and I'm just saying I don't disagree with them. You like the change highlights the team's heroic abilities theme, which I think is also cool. But I think what they could have done is they could have kept some of the songs in there, just so that people have flavor. And so my pro argument to Esther's is this: Tapper, the season 1 captain, is the much easier captain to run, and I kind of felt that was within the design of Guild Ball in general. If you look at the season 1 captains for most teams, whether that be Honor or Tapper or Ox or I don't know, maybe even Ballista, Shark. You look at those season 1 captains, they seem to be fairly easy to run. They're a little more generalist. They have a little more support abilities, but they're also very good on their own. So therefore, we were more comfortable handing a new player Tapper. And then the whole idea behind the season 2 captains, your Esters and Hammer and all these other guys, was that they're more complicated to run, but they also offer you, additional playstyles, additional powerful playstyles to complement your season 1 captain, right? So you kind of already had your entry level captain on the Brewers. And so that's why people are like, well, we should have oversimplified her. We should have kept her as okay, when you're playing Brewers and when you start playing Brewers, the common practice would be to start with Tapper, start with him as your initial Brewers captain, and that makes a lot of sense. He's a very simple captain to run, and then when you want the flavor, when you want an interesting play style, then move over to Esters and learn a slightly more complicated mode of operation with your captain. That's kind of people's take on those 2 captains, and that's why people are upset. That said, I and take this with a grain of salt. I'm not a Brewers player, so I'm also not as invested in this decision. I don't see the doom and gloom with the decision. I think it's a little disappointing that Esther's lost a bit of her flavor, a bit of her character. I mean, she's not she has an aura, but I don't get that singing mechanic. But the captain I picked is an opera singer. I want that to really be her mechanic somehow. And you can say, well, her aura, maybe she's the one, she sings songs to everybody in her aura, and that's why they're inspired to do their heroic plays for free. I guess true. You have to learn. Okay. It's very easy. It's very easy to own a lot of Guild Ball teams. I have remedied that by selling a lot of Guild Ball teams. Like this, full disclosure here, this Falconers team, this will be for sale. I will sell this team. I'm not keeping this team. I have no intention of keeping this team. So yeah, stay tuned. It will be on sale. Just like my farmers team is on sale. My blacksmiths team will most likely be, well, no, I will sell that team. I do this every season. I kind of trim down to the teams I want to play, and then I'll balloon back up as I explore more teams in the season. And it's fun to for me, it's fun to have all the painting opportunities and just enjoy so many different things that way. I guess I'm gonna do this entire pelt here, this color, and then we'll highlight it up to an off-white, I suppose. So I will kind of lay it on a little heavier, let it get in between all that stuff. And I'll let that dry for a minute. Yeah. So that's why they're salt, but I don't think I don't see it as a nerf. I don't see it as a power nerf, especially since we don't know what the rest of their roster looks like in season 4. You know, you're nail biting the possible changes for fish. Well, I think it looks, based on the vet siren changes, it looks like they're going to simplify stuff for fish, but I think they're gonna do everything they can to stay true to the fish theme, right? They should stay true to that at least. I'm gonna need some white for this guy. Just pumped on using the new sledge. New sledge scares the crap out of me. New sledge with vet cinder. Oh, that's terrifying. Like what are you looking at for your lineup? I'm looking at, if you're going to go the sort of beat down lineup, you go anvil sledge, and then you can go cinder, V cinder with furnace, and then you can do hearth alloy, right? So you can do hearth alloy because right, there's always a good reason to go hearth alloy with blacksmiths. They're just such a staple for that team. I'm a big furnace fan. I loved furnace with cast. I think he's even better with V cinder. But here's the thing: I've been thinking about that lineup too, right? And I'm like, well, I know myself. I'm not such a big takeouts guy. It's cold. Like I'm cool doing takeouts and whatnot, but I'm more of a goal scoring guy. So on that particular lineup, I still might go back to the old standard of Ferrite in there and run Ferrite as my captain again. The movement boost is fantastic on a sledge that has a list that can give him pile driver and instruction. So you can give sledge, some ridiculous charge range. Painted, what's up, Adam? Welcome to the feed, dude. That's a pretty gross lineup. Now you give up damage potential and you give up a second sentinel if you were going to trade out furnace for ferrite, but what you gain is another credible goal threat in there, because really alloy is your only goal threat. Well, that's not true. It's not true, and I'm going to contradict myself immediately and point out that furnace is a 3/8 kick, and it's a fact that most people overlook. Like I know people I play against overlook that constantly. And to have furnace just pop out for a minute and just kick an 8-inch goal, and they're like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing?" Oh yeah, he's just gonna. By the way, he's just gonna kick this goal because furnace is a 3/8 kick. It's pretty damn funny when that happens. That does catch people by surprise. They're used to furnace being in the mix there. So if you were gonna run without ferrite, who becomes your captain? That's a good question, because they boosted Anvil's legendary, which is cool, but do you really need that dude to have the capability for 5 influence? And is the legendary enough for that? I'm tempted to go on such a lineup without ferrite. I'm tempted to give the captain to Hearth, which is, it's going to give everybody 2-inch melee, which isn't really why you do it. You do it so that you could put 5 on Hearth, which is disgusting, right? Because now you could do instruction and use this all over the place, and you still have plenty of influence to walk around and knock people down with your momentous knockdown on 1. Also very cool. I don't think you really need Anvil to be your captain in such a lineup. But you guys, you guys tell me what you think. Would you run a different captain? Do you think that Anvil should be your captain? I just don't see a need for him to have 5 influence ever. The guy is just amazing. He doesn't, you throw him out there, you maybe get a knockdown, you try to land a singled out. That's all you need, dude. He does not need more than, say, 3 influence ever. All right. Ooh, it's still not dry there. Okay, so he's the limited Hearn model. And then other limited model is this egret, which is just freaking awesome miniature. Such a good miniature. Very, very cool miniature. So I'm gonna fill in all these like feathery things here, kind of a bone color. Anvil against some heavy hitters like Brewers. It has decimate, push a lot, and tough hide to keep apprentices alive. Seems worth. Yeah, because of the what does he give him? Sturdy or stoic? I think he gives him stoic, right? Stoic, tough hide. I agree. That's if you're going in against a team like Brewers or Farmers, teams that want to play the grindy scrum, then yeah, taking him as captain is great. Again, though, I still don't see you putting 5 influence on him, but it's not truly an issue because you're running him right. You've got 3 to 4 influence on Sledge and your other apprentices anyway, so it's not that big a deal. Man, she's cool. Just has this cool little like Robin Hood type outfit on that I think is awesome. And I guess I could paint her pants there another color. I don't necessarily need to. Just great miniature. With the launch kit limited miniatures are really, really cool. That angel with the pirate hat that comes in the navigator's kit, I really, really like. I'm sure somebody will hire me to paint that for them because that's really cool. Let's go black boots here. So yeah, I think blacksmiths are going to be much more popular in season 4, just because blacksmiths were gaining a lot of popularity at the end of this season. Some big time pro players were running Anvil as their captain, and telling people they're just going to wreck their face with Anvil. So I think the blacksmiths are going to kind of be one of those popular guilds in season 4. I'm going to give Egret her ginger hair here. And I guess we're going to give her a gold bow. So this is a really weird color I'm using here. This is Vallejo Game Color Smoky Ink. and it's just a weird consistency. But you can see it goes down, and it is a lot like a glaze or a toner. It's very thin, but it has a richness to it that looks kind of like burnished gold. So it's a fantastic undercoater for non-metallic gold, I found. It's a great color to start off a non-metallic gold with. You can see like it already kind of looks like your non-metallic. Oop. Hmm. So we'll get some highlighting here on her armor. Oh, there's another like plate here. There's like another like a band here. It goes like that. Yeah, it's just a great, it's a really fun miniature. I'm a fan. Really fun mini. And do these arrows with black shafts. So yeah, as far as like I predict that blacksmiths are going to be very popular in season 4. Hunters will be very popular in season 4. Um, I don't think morticians are going to get the uptick that they're hoping. You know, as cool as I think Scatha is, I don't see that changing the number of morticians player on a large scale. You know, I think morticians players are still looking at Obulus like Obulus really is the reason to play the team. I don't know that I agree with that 100%, but I can see where they're coming from. These little skulls. Hunters minis have these little. They have all their stuff adorned in these skulls. We got to do Egret's red hair. Give that a little highlight. So, how is everybody doing tonight? Hope you guys are doing well. Let me know if you have any opinion on either the Captain Marvel trailer or The Predator, the movie The Predator, which I saw some of the review. I've been watching some of the reviews of that, and people think that movie is god awful. Oh, cool! You finished painting one Artesian minute. Nice, Aristea. Good job. Good job. Which one did you paint? Out of curiosity. Yeah, I heard The Predator was a terrible movie. Hannibal. Hey, Hannibal's a fairly complex paint scheme if you went white and orange on him. Like I painted one of those before and I was like, oh shit, white and orange, that's annoying. It's an annoying color combo to do. Senior Massacre, in my opinion, is easier because you just paint the red parts first, and then you go back and hit the black parts. Where is there it is. This is my red hair go-to color, Parasite Brown. Somebody pointed out that Egret doesn't have a falcon, and so they're trying to find a falcon for her. It's kind of sad. The other person who does not have a falcon is Icarus, but Icarus is a falcon in this list, so. Okay, so there's some feathers there. So she has some feathers and some beads and stuff in her hair. Yeah, the original Egret model was one of my favorite miniatures to paint for hunters. And this limited model is really, really good. She is wearing her hair, you know, in an arguably Native American fashion. Somebody going to be offended by that? You know, she kind of has the, for lack of a better term here, she has the dreamcatcher hair. Just waiting to see if somebody gets offended by that. Just painting Hannibal the way I wanted. I'll be close to the art with Senior. Well, yeah, because Senior Massacre is Deadpool. People will be mad if you don't actually do him like Deadpool. All right, so I'm going to paint some of her hair around this, but that is a lot of just feather trophies and stuff in her hair. It's very busy, unfortunately. She's got a lot of stuff on her. So you should be able to paint him in his yellow and blue X-Men version. That's pretty funny. Okay. Pretty good. Let's quickly get the arrows. All right. Okay. I need to do little beads in her hair. They're going to be that light blue color. Cornflower blue. All her other stuff is in. Just kind of make that her color. Now let's do a little bit of the highlight on the gold bow. Ooh, too much. Scale it back. Scale it back. All right. Anybody else working on anything interesting or anything you want to talk about or share or anything like that? You guys tell me. You know, if you have ideas for things you want me to share in the future, different types of painting projects or specific technique or anything like that, just let me know. And we will look at putting something up along those lines. Okay. A little bit of a gold bow there. Just let that dry. As you can see, it's not covering very well, but we can use that to our advantage. All right. Whoops. Oh. So now I need like bone white or off-white. That's just regular white. Overall, I'm still super excited for Guild Ball Season 4. I'm a little bit peeved that, we've got 2 Butcher's spoilers. I'll forgive them the spoiling 2 Blacksmiths players, because it's not a good idea to spoil a blacksmith apprentice or a master without their counterpart. You're not seeing the whole picture. What am I missing? Off-white. Missing off-white. Okay. You're off, but I hope to see the rest of it. Yeah. If you're following me on social media or whatever, I will post these when they're done. If you're following me on Instagram or Twitter or whatever else I happen to post on. You can see it there. Have a good night. Thanks for tuning in, and I really appreciate the question. All right. Yeah, we're going kind of slow tonight, but that's okay. We started late. I'm not planning on getting any of these guys really done, but we can get most of them. We can get most of these ones tonight done. Kind of start laying out the template for the other players. Woo. There's so much stuff going on with this version of Egret. All that kind of stuff there. In fact, let's get a little highlight on the bow. I really wish I liked this team. Probably keep it, but I am not keeping this team. Falconers just don't do anything for my personal taste. So I'm not really planning on keeping any of them. Really want more of the joy of painting up models such as this one and just enjoying that, putting it on stream so you guys can see it. Also quite cool. There's a limited edition bell there. I know that seems kind of silly to call it a limited edition bell, but it is what it is. I'm just trying to make this thing look a little more metallic. You can see I have that white shiny spot there. I'm actually going to blend some of this gold color into it so it doesn't look so conspicuous. Still looks kind of conspicuous. Whatever, it's a fun little Christmas bell. Christmas bell. There we go. Okay. So there's a few of these guys done. Or close enough, I guess. They're starting to come a lot faster now. Here's the other Minerva. I know she has a headdress on, but right now my priority is getting all that dark color down. Another pretty fun miniature. Not as fun as her Wonder Woman version, but still pretty fun. And we'll give her a snow owl here. There we go. Looks cool. Thanks, Blade Wolf. I think this dress is cool for her. It is sad that I'm about to send a teacher a "you are bad at your job" email. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. There's a story there. Most of the times it does hurt to tell somebody that they're bad at their job. You don't, you know, you don't want to needlessly harm people, but sometimes you got to just tell them like they're bad at their job. You need their help. Right? Then you need their help rectifying stuff like that. Huh. Yeah, this is the miniature that a lot of people complained about when she came out because her nose is so flat. And yeah, the one I got is not, her nose isn't terribly flat. She actually has pretty good character to her face. She only has office hours on 2 days. That blows. Yeah, this is about as simple as you could expect for a paint scheme for Minerva. Very simple job, but very rewarding. I like her dress quite a bit. And she also has a belt like everybody else does. She has a few belts. These falconers are really concerned about their pants falling down. Plus, she said I didn't look at the question carefully when she gave a non-detailed question. Ooh, man. I've gotten into my share of arguments with teachers like that ask a question and expect you to be able to wholly embrace the context of that question. And so you ask them specifics on it. It's like, oh, I've been specific. This is what we're dealing with. That does suck. Okay. All right. So now paint's flowing a little fast and furious right now. Just trying to help get some of this painting done. She's a terrible teacher and probably doesn't serve her titles that she thinks she's earned. Wow. That's rough, dude. That's quite the indictment. Shots fired. My paint is getting so runny right now. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good. Yeah. Paint's getting runny and it's not covering. That usually means it's time to call it a night. Right? The lower temperatures at night sometimes work against you. Like not permitting this glove to dry. Let's get some highlights down. And I also have to get all those feathers in her hair. She has a ton of those. I'm an evil person. Not all the time. I can be a fairly evil person. Thankfully, though, not very apologetic about it. Just honest. By the way, I'm not a nice person. I explain to people. We also do know poor teacher quality, yeah. Oh. So you can see how I'm doing this. Just kind of brush a really, really thin layer on there. If you want to go thinner, you can always just take some water while it's still wet like this and use the water to feather and brush out the paint. Try to keep it smooth consistency. Keep the light towards the top of the model. Okay. You have to go animal on this ass. Damn. Damn. We're doing pretty well. Getting a lot of these done. Or I should say most of done. Like tabletop done. I'm going to put a little snow on the bases. See if I can do that without making a gigantic mess. Yeah, because I could do, there's 3 other players that I need to do, but it's already 11:45, so probably we're just going to put a little snow on the bases where we can, and we'll work on even up for painting our Falconers. That sucks, man. I guess I can add the snow later. Maybe for tonight we'll just do, yeah, because we'll do all the snow at the same time. Tonight we'll just cap them off, right? So I'm gonna use sick green here and just paint the rims of the bases. Probably another night or 2 before the whole team is done anyway. And you actually still have to work on the owl. It's okay. Well, let's get the green down. You can see I'm using a much lighter green. Usually use a pretty dark green for hunters. I'm gonna use a lighter green for these falconers. So my plan is to do maybe one little tuft of flowers and then a little bit of snow on the base too. Just to give that winter theme. Yeah, sorry you're having a rough time at school, man. Just busy time of year. I've been holed up in meetings for like the past couple of weeks and just a lot of work. It's just been work has been a lot of work recently. You're supposed to be happy, man. Should be, yeah. Although, I'll counter it as respectfully as I can and say that you you can still have a huge impact on your own happiness. So you can work on it. I don't feel I'm particularly good at that myself. Trying to keep myself in happy spirits. And I think it's really sad too because I have a lot to be grateful for. So I need to just work on being grateful. Looks like this color calms down a little bit once it actually dries. I know it looks really bright right now, but it'll calm down a little bit. I'm definitely going to try out this team like once or twice. Play a couple of games with it. See how I like it. These don't seem my playstyle at all. But apparently they can be quite fun to paint. So that's a nice bonus there. Yeah, you can see egret's already calming down. So it does settle down to a much nicer, like a more subtle green when it does dry. How much are my commissions? If it's a supported system, meaning if it's a game that I play and enjoy, I usually charge the retail cost of the miniatures. So if the full retail cost of a Falconers set is like $52, so I charge $52. It's quite a steal. So that's a lot cheaper than I normally would charge for painting that many miniatures. Let's get a little color on this guy here. The bunny. Get some color on the bunny tonight. Bunny ball. Yeah. What I like about it is I charge what I consider to be a fair price on the miniatures I want to paint, but the more important factor for me is the ability to pick what types of jobs I want and which ones I don't want. Right? Like I do commission painting for money obviously, but also for fun. Like there's easier ways to make money. I wouldn't do this if I absolutely hated it and I just wanted, a few extra dollars for my babysitter or whatever. I would earn that money another way. This way, I get to have fun, do the projects I want to do, paint the models I want to paint, and get paid for them. It's a pretty good deal as far as I'm concerned. That's called working at the club. Yeah, it's it's a nice gig because you get to paint. Like there's stuff like this that comes out all the time. It's, oh man, the Falconers Guild looks so cool. Blah 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 blah. And there's always this guy's like, I really got to get I really got to get one. I got to get one, right? And they're more collectors, so they'll buy it and then not touch it. They'll just have it, right? I could never be a collector. Like if I buy something, I intend on using it. It's not enough, and especially with miniatures games, I want to paint it and then use it, right? Just to make things a little more complicated. But yeah, this is a nice way to just be able to go, oh, you know, uh, Falconers came out and they look really cool. And I just go, all I have to do is go, wow, I hope someone hires me to paint their Falconers. And if they don't, you do what I'm doing right now, which is buy them anyway. Buy a set of Falconers, paint it, and then sell that. Even if I make $10 extra, I'm doing that. Not that I want to. That's kind of horrifying. But yeah, even if I made $10 extra, I still got the enjoyment and the value of being able to paint a set like this and getting to add that experience to my sort of gaming repertoire, right? That is cool. This is cool. At some point, I want to do some more work on Wonder Whammons there. She looks super fun. I'm going to have so much fun painting Wonder Whammons. Just feeling highly lazy in painting right now, which is sad. I hear you. Well, my personal preference is for you to paint your own stuff because I know you enjoy it. But I will not turn down another opportunity to paint something if I like it. So, anyway, yeah, I wish I could have painted more. Unfortunately, we started pretty late in the night, but we'll get to it. We'll paint these guys. We'll get to see more of the coolness as time goes on. Yeah, here's where we're at. Really like that miniature. Super fun. Really like her. So many feathers on that side of her head. So she's fun. Rundas is fun. Bjorn, very fun. We're getting there. All right, guys. So with that, we're going to call this feed to a close. I'm going to go to bed. Thanks, everyone, for watching. And yeah, have a good one, guys. Good night.